What's up guys, it's Johnny Candido of Candido Training HQ. I made a video a while back called How to Squat with Perfect Form. And in this video I showcased the 3 basic steps to high bar squatting. So if you haven't watched that video, watch that before you watch this, because those 3 steps do apply to this video. Okay, so there are 2 variations of the high bar squat. There's the Olympic squat and then the hybrid squat. First, let's take a look at the Olympic squat. This movement's very simple in that all you're trying to do is squat as low as possible. I strongly recommend that you wear Olympic weightlifting shoes. Also, for this exercise, you'll be trying to stay as upright as possible, so you won't be sitting back as much as you'll be sitting straight down. Okay, so now for the hybrid squat. What you need to do is widen your stance. This will allow you to sit back and create a higher natural bottom position so that you'll get a stretch reflex at just below parallel rather than at the rock bottom position in an Olympic squat. So that's all the hybrid squat is. It's just a regular high bar squat, but you're just going to slightly below parallel, so your stance will be slightly wider and you'll sit back just a bit more than you would in an Olympic squat. So because of this, I recommend flat shoes rather than Olympic weightlifting shoes. But it's also important to keep in mind that this is still a quad dominant movement. You're just involving your hips a little bit more, but you're still breaking at the knees and you're not leaning forward too much. It's all about finding that right balance to develop your overall leg strength. A common misconception is the thought that the lower you squat, the more you're involving your posterior chain. This is true until you reach parallel. Once you're past parallel, actually the deeper you go, the more you're increasing knee flexion in comparison to hip extension. So not only will the hybrid squat increase hip activation from the external rotation and hip abduction, but also the balance between hip extension and knee flexion. And also this balance makes it easier to have your hips move back and forth in one smooth motion. A common problem with the Olympic squat is that if you don't descend basically straight down, what can happen is that your hips will swing underneath you and you'll lose tightness going into the bottom position. So overall, the hybrid squat allows you to handle more weight than you would use in the Olympic squat, and it allows you to utilize your hips a little bit more. However, unlike the low bar squat, it won't tax your lower back too much and it's still a quad dominant movement. So in my opinion, the hybrid squat gives you the best of both worlds. It allows you to handle heavy weight, but it also still will translate into athletic performance and bodybuilding goals. And I'd like to say that the Olympic squat is still a great movement. It does have some advantages in terms of range of motion and consistency. I'll likely use it as a training tool in the future, switching between hybrid and the Olympic squat. But for most people, I'd suggest just sticking with the hybrid squat, because most people do have difficulty getting into that bottom position. And also, I've trained with the hybrid squat most of my life, and it was very easy to make the transition from the hybrid squat to Olympic squat, or from the hybrid squat to the low bar squat. So that's another big advantage, that if you're indecisive on your goals, that then you can just train the hybrid squat and then you'll know that that carries over into whichever movement you want to focus on later. So that's it guys, I hope this video was helpful. Like the video, support the channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for watching guys. Peace.
From up here, Earth looks amazing. That's why I'm invading human races, and there's no reason to debate it. I am the universe and you're crazy.